Hi, guys. Welcome to Own Your Essence, the podcast where healing meets empowerment. I'm your host, April DeMille, a psychic medium and a life coach specializing in grief, trauma, and toxic relationship recovery. This is a space for deep conversations, powerful transformations, and raw healing. Each week, we'll dive into soul-centered topics like psychic mediumship, the supernatural, metaphysical wisdom, emotional grief, addiction, mental health, spiritual wellness, and self-discovery. Through inspiring interviews and personal insights, this podcast is here to spread awareness, spark connection, and support your healing journey. If you're ready to set boundaries, reclaim your confidence, and step into your true power, you're in the right place. Let's own your essence together.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Own Your Essence podcast, where we get to have deep transformational conversations with some of your favorite people. I am your host, Stephanie Ann Webb, and today we are going to speak with April DeMille. Hi, April.
Yay. Are you guys fooled? Stephanie's taking the reins today.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
I
it's not
love
even
this.
April Fool's.
Yeah, for real. For real, for real. Hey guys. For those of you that are seeking intuitive insight, I provide private psychic medium readings. These sessions are designed to bring clarity and direction across areas like money, career, relationships, family dynamics, spiritual evolution, and emotional well-being. If you are ready for a deeper, more personalized support, I offer private one-on-one coaching for those navigating grief, trauma, and the complexities of toxic relationship recovery. You can schedule a discovery call using the links provided to ensure it's a comfortable fit. You'll find all booking links in the show notes of every episode. And as always, thanks for tuning in.
So we're going to highlight you today,
Yeah,
April DeMille.
I get to be in the hot seat, you guys. I'm the guest speaker. Fun.
April DeMille is a psychic medium and trauma and toxic relationship recovery specialist, a grief coach, transformational guide, and podcast host. April is a psychic medium, life coach, narrative healer, and lifelong alchemist, guiding others through soul-level transformation. Shaped by profound personal loss and decades of mediumship experience, her work blends raw human truth with deep spiritual insight. As the host of the Own Your Essence podcast, April creates sacred space for honest and powerful conversations around grief, trauma, addiction, mental health, the metaphysical, ooh, that's my favorite, and the magic of self-discovery.
Yay.
Yay, April. So this is fun.
Yeah,
I have
I'm
been a
looking for.
host. I've been a guest on your podcast, and now
Yeah.
I am hosting for you.
Yeah, now you're hosting on the podcast. So it's a fun little, we're just doing a little switcheroo on you guys today. So,
Yes.
yeah,
So I have a question for you.
I want to hear it. I love this question.
I love asking people. I think I asked Lee this at one point. What do people, when people hear psychic medium, how do they react to you?
Well, that's definitely been something that has, over the years, transformed as well. So I think the transformation came organically as I became more and more comfortable with the acceptance of myself. So then my outer world matched my inner world. And so what that looked like was for many years, I didn't come out of the psychic closet until I was 38. So that's how long I tried to like hold that shit down, right? Like, I'm not this, even though I knew I was this, right? And
Like, were you
so,
trying to minimize making it sound so kind of extreme to certain people?
I think I always knew, I always knew I was different. You can call it gifted, you could call it tapped in, whatever word you want to slap on there, right? I stood out differently. I didn't understand how different until I was about I think I was about 5 when I started realizing, oh, they don't see what I see. Oh, they're not hearing these spirits taught. Wait, what? Like it took a minute for me to figure out that this wasn't everybody's normal. It was just my normal. And then when I realized how many people around me it scared, I shut it down. Like I was like, oh, this isn't something we can talk about. This is not something I learned very young to shut that down. And throughout my years, from that point until 38 years old, I still had all the experiences. I was still doing all the stuff, but it wasn't very I wasn't very forward about it. I had a couple close people connected to me that I could talk about some things with, but I wasn't even fully emerged in my own identity. Like I didn't even really know what psychic medium meant even to me, let alone how was somebody else going to understand that. And it wasn't until, much later when I got a little more comfortable with that. So with that being said, throughout the journey, I was met with a lot of discomfort, right? A lot of, oh my God, you're the devil. Oh my God, you're satanic. Oh my God, you're this or that or whatever.
Did
And
you have a fear of being judged for that?
I don't now,
Hmm.
but God, no, I don't really even feel like, I don't know. I mean, I guess probably somewhere that conditioning had to be there because my family had been afraid of some of the things I think that was coming up. Like, I think there were many times that I can remember my mom being like, you should check yourself in, you should get help because, like, I heard voices and the things were happening, right? And so, what scared her was, the unknown is what scared her, and it was automatically classified as a mental issue or something else, right? And so I think based on that, from being really little and having that be my experience, then it set the tone for a lifetime of rejection, right? And doubting myself. And so, yeah,
Yeah, I can completely understand that, especially living in Texas.
yeah. So like the Bible Belt
Yeah.
and so let me just say I wasn't raised in a religious family when I was really young. Now my mom was raised Southern Baptist. I don't know much about my stepdad's background. I don't think he felt very attached to religion. But my mom's family, like her family line, was Southern Baptist, right? Bible Belt stuff, right? Like hell, fire, all the things, right? So that was, I was raised in a household that didn't speak of religion. I didn't hear about much about religion or differences until I was older. I would say probably before I was 12 or 13 before I started really leaning into more of that. And then I had realized I had a whole family of genealogy that was Mormon. And so I have a lot of Mormon background in my family as well. And so, yeah, uh, when there are variables around you that play into, the raising the child, right? Like it takes a village, right? So, with all of that factoring in, it it definitely it's another level of fear-based like shaming, right? And so yeah, so many times people have used the Bible against me and been like, "Oh, you're satanic or you're this or that." And again, it I believed them. I believed that there was something wrong with me because I wasn't confident in myself and I wasn't raised to be confident in myself. I was quite literally abused and raised to doubt myself. That's how that works. And to abandon myself over and over again. So until I was fully accepting that this is a major part of who I am and I can't give it back no matter how much I fucking tried to give it back, I was forced, and not politely, I was I was literally drugged by my hair to like accept this role and kicking and screaming, not wanting to do it, and that actually made my life worse. And once I finally, stepped into it, it changed everything. And then my confidence in my abilities and recognizing that this was a massive part of what makes me me. That was kind of what shifted my outer world to where people were like, oh, okay, this is what you do. Now, I'm not saying I don't come across the occasional jackass that wants to be like, oh, you're satanic or you're the devil, whatever, dude. Like whatever that works for you. Like if that's your world, have fun with that. Like, but I don't have to be a part of that just because that's their belief. And so
Right.
that's where the change, that's where the transformation happens.
Mm. So would you say it was your confidence that really started to help your intuition evolve even more? Like
No,
how did
I
that?
no,
No?
no, I would say it was my daughter's death that helped my intuition expand more. I would say when you go through, I'd already been through probably more fucking traumatic shit than any other person I've ever met in my life. And that's not to like be in a victim mindset. It's just observance, right? Like this is just based on every person I've ever met. If we were going to put this on a scale of 1 to 10, like I haven't met maybe one or two people that might be able to sit where I'm sitting, maybe, right? And so it took all of that. And then, then I guess the final straw was my daughter's death. And once that happened, uh, I would say that's where most of my intuition really blew up, right? Because like at that point, I had to deepen my my inner world. I had to I had to sit with a level of compassion for myself and for others that you would never even experience unless you went through something like that. And with that level of compassion came responsibility and sharpening of my abilities. So it all kind of came together in that moment and over the years, right? Like it wasn't just like all of a sudden here it all is in one little, magic winning cup, but it definitely came to a head and then continued to progress from there.
So would you say that with like is that when grief and trauma and psychic medium come together? Like are you able to I don't even know where I'm trying to ask with this question. When you've gone through a loss, the spiritual aspect of that, the psychic medium stuff, does that like are you able to see people who have passed on? Are you able to connect with them?
Yeah.
And is that connects with your work with
Yes.
grief and trauma?
Yeah. So actually, that's funny that you bring that up because I've had that conversation with Lee. Like we've had that conversation a lot. What happens is my role here happens to be very taboo, right? If my magic to give to the world is the very dark shadow work of grief and all the shit, heavy shit that nobody wants to touch, right? Like nobody's like, oh, that sounds cool. Let's go do that, right? Nobody's signing up for that shit, right? But that happens to be my magic. And in order for that to be my magic, I had to experience the craziest shit ever, right? I had to go through it all to get here. And so that does actually, it does happen that I tend to attract a lot of traumatized spirits as well as traumatized humans, right? That's the service. And so, yeah, I would say they overlap.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
And that's a hard work, I would imagine. Like how do you
Yeah. Like I
how,
said, nobody's
how do
like,
you
hey, grief work. Yes, let's go do that. Nobody's doing that. Nobody. Like nobody's like, oh my God, that sounds like the coolest shit ever. Nobody's signing up for that kind of work. Nobody's like, in fact, what they are doing is like, oh my God, grief. Oh God,
um,
that's so scary. Let's avoid at all cost, right? And that's why we have a whole world of sick people because we're repressing, we're avoiding, we're not doing the work. And now we've got a whole planet of sick motherfuckers. Like, like everybody's walking around with autoimmune issues and all kinds of stuff because that's what we've been conditioned to do.
how important do you think sitting in the shit is? Because I know I've listened to a lot of like Eckhart Tolle and different people talking about that, and they're like, you have to sit in the uncomfortable feelings. And
Yeah.
when I started to do that, I noticed I actually, it sucks, right? But
Super
then I
sucks.
started to notice that like I healing started to gradually come. So
Hmm.
in your work and with how you were processing your grief and everything, do you find that like one of the most important things to be doing?
Yeah. So grief is very sacred. Like, and it demands a lot of space. And if you don't give it the space it deserves and the attention it deserves, it's going to strip it from you without politeness, without asking, without, oh, this isn't a good day. I'm sorry. That's too bad. Fuck off. Like you have work to do. Like it's not going to look pretty. The longer you avoid, the bigger those tower moments are going to be. And so sitting in that discomfort is absolutely necessary. Yeah. And the healing does come. You don't have to sit in that discomfort forever. And sometimes it's extremely heavy and you have to come up to catch your breath, and that's okay. But the more you run from it, the more you're just fucking yourself up. Like you're not helping yourself at all.
And we don't talk about that. Well, maybe
Mm-mm.
this spaces I'm in watching, we do talk about it more, but
Yeah.
I feel like there's a whole other, like you were saying, there's people who just want to avoid. That's why we numb ourselves
Yeah.
so much with
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah,
And
that's why
we're
all
like,
of we have like all these coping mechanisms and all a world of addiction and pain and all the things. And listen, I didn't fucking get this I don't get this like handed to me on a platter and going, "Oh, this sounds great. Like this is so fun." This also came by means of trauma and loss and hardship for me too. And guess what? I was right there with everyone else, running from it, avoiding it. Oh my God, what do I do with it? I did all the same shit. So this isn't even like this is more about like, oh, we're all human. We all have a collective conditioning, right? And none of us have been given the proper resources or tools to manage this and know how to navigate such such heavy levels of shadow work. No, nobody knows, right? And I certainly didn't know, right? I was falling apart everywhere and still ran from it. But I'll tell you what helped me. What helped me wasn't other humans around. What helped me was the fact that I was psychic medium and I had spiritual guides going, hey, you've got to do this different. That's actually what helped me. And so that's another reason why it's really important to understand your intuition and your reference system and how the spirit world's connecting with you, because I had more help from the other side than I ever did from any other human, ever.
wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And I
And
thought
those
that
were
that
your
was
spirit guides?
it was spirit guides, spirit animals, spirit teams, like it was again a collective, right? But that was the reason why I saw a need in this work, because I shouldn't have had to only rely, I say only not in a dismissive or type of way or minimizing type of way about the spirit community, but like I shouldn't have only had my spirit community to get me through that. Granted, I'm grateful, that's great, wonderful, but I should have never had to have gone through that as alone as I did. And on top of that, not only what did I have no human help, not family, not like everybody had turned their back on me like I had a disease, because grief is scary and they will treat you like you have a disease. Oh God, she has a dead kid. Well, I don't want a dead kid. Keep her away from me. That is how they treat you. Right. And so not only did I have every human in the world turn their back on me, but also they also went out of their way to mistreat me. Yeah, wrap your head around that, right? So when you would think that humanity would have more compassion with your suffering, they not only have less compassion, but go out of their way to mistreat you because they're so uncomfortable with your suffering. Right.
I remember you mentioning at
Yeah,
one point,
it's
people said,
crazy.
"Are you over it yet? Over your
Yeah,
daughter's
yeah.
death?"
And it had been like a year. And they're like, get over it. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, that's how this works, dum dum. Like,
I can't even believe that. Like
yeah,
honestly,
yeah,
I don't know anybody who would even say that.
right. Right. So
I'll
that's
think.
it. So that's what I'm saying. Like grief is, as much as it sounds awful, it's actually your best friend. It really is. Grief is your best fucking friend. And understanding it, and it strips like the blinders off, like it exposes everyone in your world. So if those people can mistreat you at the most traumatic times in your life, clearly they're not people that were ever, meant for you, right? And so along with that came boundaries and building confidence. And so it all just kind of all at once.
Hey everyone, Stephanie here. For those of you seeking intuitive insight, April provides private psychic medium readings. These sessions are designed to bring clarity and direction across areas like money, career, relationships, family dynamics, spiritual evolution, and emotional well-being. If you're ready for deeper, more personalized support, April offers private one-on-one coaching for those navigating grief, trauma, and the complexities of toxic relationship recovery. You can schedule a discovery call using the links below to ensure it's a comfortable fit. You'll find all booking links in the show notes. As always, thanks for tuning in. Yeah. There was when somebody, so I did on my own podcast, I interviewed a woman who wrote a book because she had two husbands pass away on her. And she was talking about when somebody is going through grief, talk about, because we want to avoid the topic. And she says, I loved it when people would want to share their memories
Mm-hmm.
of them.
Yeah.
And so when you are working with people who are going through a loss, do you encourage that when they want to talk about the
Oh yeah.
person?
I'm like, fucking talk about all the stuff. Like, and also people, because they don't understand your suffering or what you're going through, I think a lot of people are just like scared to like, how do I even, should I talk about this? Does she want to talk about this? Right. And so people don't really know how to approach you and what to say. And so it's easier to just mistreat you instead, which makes still no sense. But yeah, a lot of times, people just don't know what to say. And can I talk about her? Can I bring up her daughter's name? Can I do the things we want to talk about our loved ones?
Yeah.
Like absolutely. We have to for survival. We have to release it from our inner world's wars. Like we have to move this energy even for our own survival. So yeah, we want to talk
There
about
is
it.
it's true. You start thinking, oh no, I said that person's name. I was at a funeral last weekend and I was sitting with a friend and I said, oh my God, if this is so long, because it was a Catholic funeral
Hmm.
and they tend to go on. And I was like, oh, I'll die. And I was like, shit, I can't say die at a funeral. And then I realized, oh, you get so nervous about saying the wrong thing, but people just
Well,
want to be
yeah.
able to be like, yeah.
Well, listen, even when I'm talking like just like shooting the shit about what I've gone through, I'll say dead kid. She is my dead kid. I'm not political. I'm not fancy about it. Is it the proper, terminology? I don't give a shit. The fact of the matter is that's the way I'm gonna word it, and that's my experience, and that's okay.
And if you're comfortable with it, then it's
Right.
other people that are.
It's other people that are like, oh
Um,
God, she said dead kid. That's so harsh. And it's just not the way I would, it's hurtful to my ears. Right. What? Get over it, dude. Get over yourself. I'm allowed to talk about my kid and my experience, and you could take it or leave it. And I don't give a shit which.
okay. This, and I want to ask you about this. And I know we've all said it probably. Well, I come from a Christian background, so I definitely said it. Um, when somebody says everything happens for a reason, how hard is that to hear when you're dealing with something so traumatic?
So for me, it wasn't hard to hear.
Oh,
I can't speak on everybody else that goes through that because everything does happen for a reason.
is it
Whether you,
helpful sometimes for people?
I think it depends on the person.
Ah,
And
okay.
I think it depends on where they're at in their process, which that like as a coach and a practitioner, that comes with discernment, right? Like here's the wisdom I can share. And that, when I'm working with a client, I'm able to see like where they're at in the process. So that's how discernment happens, like what is helpful, what is hurtful, right? But for me, I already knew that it was what was supposed to happen. I already knew that. I'd seen her contract. I'd seen her contract. I'd seen mine. And I'd seen our guides working together. So I already knew it was what's supposed to happen. So I was already aware. Now, you couldn't say that to everybody depending on where they're at in their process. So it just depends on who you're talking to.
Yeah. Meeting people where they are in a sense of knowing who you can say certain things to and who is not ready to hear it.
There you go. Right? Some people are still really suffering and some people are in more of a place of acceptance.
Acceptance is key. Yeah. I have a
Yeah.
friend who has gone through a few deaths in the recent years, and she's like, "Oh, this shouldn't have happened and they were this age and how come other people?"
Mm-hmm.
And I know she has a hard time accepting things as they are. And I'm very careful with how I say it, but I was just like, but some people die really, really young and they lived into their 70s. And it's, you know, like what we can control, what we can't, right? And
Yeah.
it's that part of like it shouldn't happen, which we want to say. And
Yeah,
yet
but
it's
it
like,
should.
but you're holding on to like it should and shouldn't.
Right. And that's the thing is it should in the sense that it's life, right? Like
Right.
life isn't like, oh, I'm going to play fair. Like this is going to be a fun
Right.
game. Like that's not how it goes. That's not how this works. So yeah, I think the problem is death has not been normalized enough. And so we
Right.
all have that idea of, oh, this shouldn't look like this. Yes, it should actually.
I think
Um,
it's we're afraid of death, so we don't want to really address it, deal with it,
right,
talk about it.
right.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
remember Betty White mentioning a few years before she passed, I heard her say, "My mother taught me death is nothing to fear."
Hmm.
And I thought that was really beautiful. It's just a part of life because I was always scared of
Well, and
death.
it's because it's not even death. It's actually birth, right? You're leaving this is like the closest to death living that we'll ever experience. The afterlife is like your rebirth into freedom. Oh yeah, this is what real life is supposed to look like, right? Like yeah. So
Yeah.
we're only losing the meat suit. That's it.
When you mentioned so before your daughter had passed, you said you had known the soul contract.
Yeah.
Did you know before?
So what had happened before, this was tricky. This is a great question that you bring this up. So it's really tricky to hide some information from a psychic medium.
Yes, you told me. You're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I know stuff."
So what I did know, and my guides had to work really, really hard, I think, to keep me cloaked on this, because otherwise, even though I'm a psychic medium and I have certain gifts, I still have to learn my lessons too. I still have to believe in miracles too. I still have to go through my process and my humaning and all the things as well, right? So I can't know all the things about my own life and blah, 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 right? And so with that being said, my team had to work very, very hard to keep me busy and cloaked, so to speak, those couple days. The only thing that I can say I remember happening was I had two experiences in a dream before she passed that um, I would lose everything, everything. And I did, by the way. And it started with her, right? I did lose everything, not just her, but I also lost my other kids in other ways outside of that. Like I had it all stripped from me, including being homeless, like not having a place to live, all the things. So it did come to me, I think, on two different occasions in a dream. It was presented to me, but not in a "hey, your kid's going to die" kind of way. It was presented to me in a different way. And I still remember exactly how it was presented to me, and I'll never forget it. Like I'll never be able to unsee that, right? So it's stained in my brain still. I'm like, yep, I remember when this was presented to me. At the time, I wasn't sure what that meant, but I knew something was coming. I didn't know the gravity of that something.
Wow.
Yeah.
I want to just go to moving on to toxic relationships for a little bit
Yeah, let's do
because
that.
you are a specialist in recovering from that.
Yeah.
Do you happen to have a definition of a toxic relationship? Is that such a thing that you could define, maybe?
I don't even know. I think that's a great question. I think toxic relationship could be defined as something that where you're experiencing a version of yourself that you're not okay with, right? So if that means there's someone in your world that's mistreating you, manipulation, abuse, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, toxic relationship can look like anything with any person, right? And there's a version of you that is existing that is aligned in a frequency with what's happening around you. And so if that doesn't feel good to you, it's taking charge of that and realizing that you can alter your world, right? By making decisions, by practicing self-care, by implementing boundaries, by recognizing what toxic looks like to you, what toxic feels like to you, what disrespect, unkindness, like, when you have uh, the ability, which is why it's so important to sit with yourself, right? In the heavy stuff, because you're able to take the time and go, here's the things I see that, or I'm experiencing that I don't like. And I need to know how to change these things. But the problem is even if you have the awareness, like, hey, I'm in these relationships that qualify as abusive or whatnot, right? A lot of people still don't know where to start and how to move forward to remove themselves from those situations. And it can be very tricky and it can be very dangerous, especially if you live with somebody that's hitting you or hurting you physically and there's control or whatever happening in your life. It can be very, very dangerous. And I've been there too. So yeah.
And how important it's really knowing yourself and what you deserve,
Right.
because I know I've been in it myself. You don't know. And people
Right.
are like, you deserve better. You're in a bad relationship. And you're like, what do you mean? And until you have that awareness within yourself of like,
Yeah.
oh, damn.
Yeah.
So when you're working with somebody, um, how
I'll,
does somebody come to you for
I'll give
toxic?
I'll give you a quick example of somebody
Okay.
that I have known pretty much my whole life. And she and I had lost contact for many, many years. And by the time she and I had reconnected, she was going through a divorce with somebody she'd been married to for 20 years. Okay, 20 years. She'd spent her whole life with this one person. They lived together, they had kids together. All kinds of stuff was happening. Now, I was not working with her as an official client, right? This is someone I grew up with and we're supporting each other in a different way at the time, right? And so the conversations were, hey, here's what I'm experiencing. And I was like, okay, well, I can tell you based on X, Y, and Z, this is not good, right? This is neglect. This is abuse. Here are the things that I'm going to tell you that I can see you're experiencing. And she was so in it and so controlled for 20 years that she did not want to hear that. In fact, the first thing she said to me was, well, if I was being abused, wouldn't I know I was being abused? And I said, nope, you wouldn't. You'd think, right? But no, that's not how it works. It's very covert, right?
Yeah.
And it takes years of breaking down a person and grooming them. So no, you wouldn't know,
Right.
right? So,
And you're conditioned
and
to
if you
see
did
it.
know, then all of us would not be having these abusive relationships, right? Like that would take the guesswork out of it all, right? If it was that simple, we'd all be doing better, right? So no, you wouldn't know.
Well, it's funny. When I lived in Toronto and I had roommates, they were taking psych, and I made a comment. I remember saying, "Oh, I didn't grow up in anything like I had a normal childhood." And I'm very good at observing human behavior, and they both kind of were like, "Okay." And I thought, "What are they talking? What?" And then I realized because they had kind of knew my background and met my dad and stuff. And then as I started like deconstructing from my religion and
Yeah.
doing my own, and I had studied some psych too, but it takes a while for it all to really, you're integrating and
Yeah.
understanding and embodying it. I
Hmm.
was like, oh shit.
Right. And that's what
And
happened.
so, yeah,
Yeah.
until you know what it is,
Yeah.
you don't know until you do.
Well, the great thing about this person that I was talking about is, in that moment, it was, well, wouldn't I know if I was being abused? Wouldn't I know? I want to say within a month. So those seed had been planted, right? In those conversations, the seed had been planted. Here's what to look for. Here's how I know that you are being groomed and control and coercive control. All the things are happening, right? And the seed was planted. Within a month, she had discovered that he was having an affair. Mm-hmm. And like all the truth came out at that point. And that's when she was like, oh my God, you were right. And right. And that's when like her blinders came off. But within that time, from the seed being planted to another level of truth being exposed, there was an integration phase where she was still processing and integrating the information, right? Like, let me shed some light, but now she has to process that light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you do get defensive at times too as you're working through
Oh,
all
totally.
this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Because nobody wants to admit that they've been abused. Because to them, they're like, oh, if I'm being abused, then what's wrong with me? Or does that make me weak because I've been abused? Like people have those thoughts and those doubts of themselves and those fears come creeping in and talking to you and stuff like that. So nobody wants to admit that, you know, that these certain things are happening to them. But it's that awareness and that admission, like removing the denial that catapults you into healing.
Right.
Yeah.
And one thing, I don't know about you, but growing up in a very shaming type of environment, when I started doing work in personal growth and learning more about manifesting, people would say, they would use the word choose. You chose this. And I would get really upset and defensive because that word choose means that you knew and you chose it and blah, blah, blah. And now I know what they were trying to say is like, you have autonomy, you can choose what to do with your life. But when you don't know that you have autonomy, you're stuck in this
Yeah.
doing what other people want because of how you were raised, because of how you were conditioned.
Right.
So, and then that can come out when people are like, I didn't choose to be abused. And that there are people who will talk down to people
Totally.
like,
Absolutely. I've heard
why
that.
don't you just leave? That kind
Yeah.
of thing. And it's
Right.
like, oh my God.
Yeah, absolutely. I heard it all too. I had family that was like, oh, why don't you just leave? Or why don't you do this? Well, you motherfucker, because
You
like,
don't just
like it
anything.
doesn't just, it's not that simple, right? We have children, we have houses, we have the things. And also, let's not forget, this is a man that has laid his hands on me and my children, right? He has threatened me. He has had his family threaten me. They have stalked me. They have harassed me. I have still, even, I think it was just a year or two ago, his older daughter tried to reach out to me and harass me on Facebook. And this was someone I was with fucking 13 years ago, right? 13 years
Yeah.
ago. So these people are loose cannons. They're unwell for whatever their reasons. So yeah, and then I had family that would be like, oh, you just need to move on. Well, no, you can't do that. They come after you and they retaliate, and then it puts you and your children in further danger. That's not how this works. But people that, a lot of times the people that would say things like that who are also very cozy in their abused life. And
Or they've never experienced it.
or they've never experienced it and they have no clue what to offer in those moments. And you've also got people, unfortunately, you've got people even in the spiritual world, right? Like the healing communities that'll be like,
Oh my God.
that'll be like, oh, you chose this suffering when you entered this contract. True story. Okay. They're not wrong. However, I'm not asking for you to state the obvious, Dick. I'm asking for you to meet me where I'm suffering, have some compassion, and remember that we're all human here, right? It doesn't matter if I chose this or I created it. My suffering still matters right now, and so does our humanity. So let's lead with that.
That's so, so important.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of people, and this is the difference where you can tell somebody's truly embodied things versus the talking points. And this is what we're seeing a lot
Yeah.
online, right? Like they've learned this stuff. They're like, here's what, blah, 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 blah. And then and then there's the people who have, and it's probably from lived experience or just have more of a compassion. They're like, yeah,
Well, here's what it does to
I'm
the
listening and I'm
yeah.
not talking at you.
Right. And here's what it does to like people that are leaders in the community, in the healing communities, right? They go, "Oh, well, you chose this. Well, awesome. You literally just bounced off of me and shut me down because you're afraid of vulnerability." That's what it did. It lets them bypass their own vulnerability and their own discomfort. That's what happens.
Hmm.
Right? And so it's really hard. Um, it's really hard sometimes to find your tribe. It's
It is.
unfortunate.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that it has to be that hard, but sometimes it is very challenging to find your tribe.
Yeah. But then also, I don't know about you, but probably I'm glad to go. I think you are. I'm glad to go through all this because then you have that understanding so you can be there for other people going through it.
Yeah, actually that's another great point you bring up because I've had my moments where I want to say when I get to work with people through grief and trauma and people that have PTSD and all kinds of things happening in their worlds, in their inner worlds. I want to say to me it feels like a privilege, which would not have happened had I not lost my daughter, had I not lost my dad, had I not lost like all kinds of, been through all these experiences. So it does feel like a privilege and an honor in a big way, and I can offer that at the same time as still honoring that to get to this privilege super sucked, right? Like, sure, it's a privilege, it's an honor, absolutely. And would I change it for anything? Nope, I wouldn't. I actually wouldn't. But did it still super suck to get here? Yes. Yep, it did.
And I think that is one of the things that people don't talk about enough, at least in some of the circles, um, where and I've said to people, this shit is hard.
It's so
It
hard.
sucks. The healing. And they're like, you're supposed to flow. It's
No,
supposed to be easy. And
no.
I used to go like, what's wrong with me? Why? And now I'm like, no, 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 no. Fuck the, not fuck you, but fuck that. You have not been through any
And
shit,
fuck you.
obviously,
Yeah, fuck that and fuck you because
because,
toxic positivity is a problem.
and it is hard. You
Yeah.
cannot heal
Yeah.
when it be like, you're not dancing around in joy, going, sitting in the
No, and
grief, sitting in the,
that's a whole nother thing too, is a lot of those healing communities that have in common is the toxic positivity. And all
yeah.
they're doing is bypassing and just shutting down real feelings and going, everything's supposed to be love and light and sparkles and cupcakes and butterflies and all the things. No, 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 we
And we
weren't
need
created
that
that
too.
way.
We need the joy and stuff like but it's all of these
Yeah,
pieces.
it's all
And
of
we
it.
need, it's like the oh, what did it, people have talked about, and growing up in the church I saw people do this all the time, but I see them now in the communities as well. um they want to bypass stuff happening in the world to people. They're like, oh, everything's going to work out as it's supposed to be. I'm like, I totally believe that. I totally
Yeah,
believe that
yeah, it does.
life is like this, but you cannot ignore. or dismiss that there's shit happening. Like darkness, light, it's all yin and yang, right? Like it's yes and. Oh, I've lost your mic. I can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say
Oh,
it's funny that you said that too, because I'm going to shift gears just a little bit. I have a friend that does podcasting, and she's amazing. Like she is one of the coolest people. Super super sensitive, sweet lady. Very graceful, super wisdom, got a lot of wisdom. She's I think I've talked about, she's been on here. Her name's Laura West.
Laura West. I knew you were
Yeah.
going to say her name.
Yeah. And one of the times we talked about, even though like leading with darkness or satanic rituals or whatever is not my cup of tea, right? Like that's not the thing I would ever do. But she does talk about the importance of everybody's role on this planet and how those things do have to happen for the people that do experience that life. And so I think that's it's a good piece of acceptance and wisdom to have, that we live in a world where you can literally create anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's this is one of the things that I get excited about is nuance.
Mhm.
Um, because it's not just, and I grew up in very black and white, so it's like this or this, and now it's like, well, it's this and this, like
Yeah. Right.
all of these things together. So
Yeah, it is this and this,
yeah.
right? Like joy is equally important as the suffering. It's all of it is the human spectrum, right? And we have
Hmm.
to have all of it. So if you're trying to bypass and just skip the shadow work and be like, oh, just cupcakes all day long, have fun with that, because it's not going to last. It's still going to knock you on your ass at some point. It's going to catch up to you.
Yeah.
You can't just turn off your humanness. That's not how that works.
Yep. Let's
Yeah,
just be human.
yeah, yeah.
One question, I know you have to go soon, but um, I'm sure a lot of people want to know, how do you stay grounded and protected while working closely in the work that you do with people in the work that you do?
I think it's just automatic. So I don't have to do a thing. I don't have to have a ritual or say a thing. There were times in my life where I thought that I did, like I didn't understand the level of authority I had. And once you have that knowledge, you don't have to go out of your way to, you know, dust salt circles around you or light the candles, like, or sage the things. Like you can if you really want to, and it's your thing. But uh, the ritual, the empowering piece is knowing that you have the protection without any of that. Like you're already protected. You don't need that shit. So that's, for me, that's the most grounding thing, is to just be present and real uh, about my own existence.
Like just embodying the knowing
Mhm.
that you
Yeah,
are. That's beautiful.
yeah. I will say though that sometimes, um, if I'm working with a client or I've just gotten off of a reading, because I absorb so much energy, and it's like moving through me through the, all the different dimensions, right? Um, Sometimes I will come off of a reading and feel really like buzzy and like electric, and I will have to actually walk outside barefoot or take a bath. Like that is something I will have to do as far as grounding my energy out, that way. But I wouldn't say that's a protection method. I think that's just more like a recalibration moment.
Right.
Yeah.
It's, people always made fun of like hugging tree huggers and touching grass and stuff, but it's so true. Like
Hmm.
just going outside with your bare feet. And I
Yeah.
have
I
hugged
mean,
trees.
it's
Like
there,
it's
it's a
amazing.
scientifically proven method, right? Because of, the way it works with our biology and all the things. So it's there's a reason why we feel so much better after being out in nature and, walking barefoot or hugging the trees or just being immersed in water. So those are things I definitely do. If I have to like reacclimate. But as far as like, do I need to protect myself in a shield of light or a bubble of, fuck yous? No, I don't have to do any of that. I don't have to do any of that.
All right. Did you want to talk a little bit about the readings, the intuitive readings that people can schedule with? Because you have discovery
Oh,
calls,
yeah.
30
Yeah.
minute and 45 minutes.
Yeah. So if you guys ever feel called to work with me, I will just say I am a psychic medium. Definitely want to be well versed in the difference between psychic and mediumship. I Even though I do work in the world as a medium, it's not the thing I lead with in my sessions. However, I don't prevent messages coming through. If they come through, they come through. I'm going to give it. And if you're looking to connect with a certain loved one, I can absolutely, venture in that world too. But most of the time when people work with me, they're looking for answers about their family dynamics, spiritual evolution, money, career, home life, romance, marriage. Like they're looking at, that scope of things. So if that's something that you feel led to do and you think I'm a good fit for you, awesome. There's Calendly links where you can book. I have a 30-minute recorded session and I also offer a 45-minute recorded session. And so those are available, but I also offer a 15-minute discovery call because maybe you just don't even know if I'm your type, right? Like maybe is she even the reader I need? Is she even my vibe? Is this someone that can lead me through, grief and all the things? So maybe we just need to do a phone call to see if I feel like I can help you with your goals. And if you feel like that I can help you with your goals, then just map out a phone call.
Awesome. And those links will be in the show notes.
Absolutely, because Stephanie is amazing and detailed, and she gets it all. She's gonna
April
have
and I are so detailed.
she's gonna have it all there for you. It's gonna be right there.
All right. Well, was there anything else you would like to add before we close, April?
No, I'm good. Great
Yay.
questions, lady.
This is fun. I
I
love just
know.
bouncing off in conversation. That's my favorite.
Yeah, that's so much fun.
All right. Well, did you
Okay.
want to close us out, April?
Yeah, thank you guys for joining us, and thanks for listening to this fun little podcast episode. We hope you love it, and we will see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for joining Own Your Essence. I am beyond grateful to our guests for sharing their wisdom and to you, our listeners, for being part of this journey toward healing and empowerment. If today's conversation resonated with you, please feel free to subscribe, leave a review, and share this space with others who might need it. If you have questions, topic ideas, want to be a guest, or would like to work with me privately, send an email. I'd love to hear from you.